Good evening, good night, whatever you want to say, everyone out there in our MNC Hoops world. It is 10 p.m. and it's been a long day for me. I'm sure, CJ, it's been a long day for you. I'll go ahead and start on mine. Of course, work pretty much till 5:30. My son had a ball game at 7, so we had to be back in Cumberland where we live here at 6:30. The game lasted till about 9 o'clock. Got home, ate a snack, got some water, got some, alkaline water. I think that's the key. But got that and came up here and ready to do a podcast. So son went 3 for 3 in baseball, had a couple good plays. I got him out at first. He got mad at me. We were down quite a bit, and so we needed some runs. He hit a hard single to shortstop. Shortstop wasn't sure what was going on, so I said send him from first to second just to see if we could get something going on. I said back, back, back. He didn't hear me, kept on going, and he came running back on his own. And, of course, then he got tagged out. He said, why'd you send me? I was like, well, you didn't hear me say come back. So I was just halfway. But, okay, and I owned up to it. I told the team, hey, that was on me. And so it was a good lesson for everybody. Hey, we all make mistakes, but we also got to gamble a little bit when it comes to sports. You got to take some chances. But that's enough about me. CJ, how you doing today?
Doing well. Friday was really good. Week went really well also. Playing, it's time. Here we go. So I'm just excited to break these games down and talk about. I think it's going to be one of the best playoffs you've seen in a very long time.
I think so too, because, let's just be honest, and we'll get into it more, but really there's no big favorite to win this year, I don't think, in my opinion. Of course, you've got the Celtics in the East who should be making to the finals, but of course you have Cleveland, who's number one all season long. Can they continue to play lots out like they have all season long during the playoffs? But do you think there's anyone that really stands out? Hey, this, if they don't win it, like they messed up, but we could see them losing?
Yes, yeah, I'm along that way of thinking for sure. There's a lot of parity in today's NBA. Some talented teams, really good duos, some great duos. Some have more experience than others. And some have bigger names, but some have more experience. So it's a dynamic where you really have to break the games down, truly understand, look at the rest of the team, see how the team has been playing with certain lineups. So yeah, definitely. I think it's one of these seasons where a so-called lower seed might have had a better, second half of the season. That doesn't necessarily, the way they're playing right now doesn't necessarily live up to what that seeding is. They're placed at. They're playing better at a better level.
Right. You know what? Let's just go ahead and jump into our first topic that kind of goes with that. And of course, I did not have faith in them last week, guys, and I apologize, but maybe I really did and just wanted to say it. But the Heat tonight just defeated the Hawks 123-114. Miami now is the 8th seed in the playoffs going against the Celtics, the Cavs in the first round. And, of course, this is, I think, our very first team that was the 10th seed going into the play-in. That becomes the 8th seed with the elimination. Of course, I said I thought they would lose to Chicago, but we both agreed. You said Chicago, but we both did agree whoever won that game would beat Atlanta Hawks. And here we are on this. Were you able to watch any of this game?
Yeah, I caught most of the first half, a little bit of the third quarter, and then I caught the highlights of the overtime fourth quarter.
Okay.
Special. Talahero, 30 points again, back-to-back playing games on the road as well.
Yes.
That again, what that shows is he's still a young player. You can't just put a cap on players after 2-3 years. If you see progress, if you see them working on their game, or see them adding things to their game every single year, it's only right to expect that they get better and improve. And that's what we've seen from Tyler Hero since he's been drafted 6th man of the year. Now he becomes an all-star. If that's not a big time improvement, I don't know what is. Going from coming off the bench to dominating to now becoming the starter and being the best player on your team and then representing the conference. So big time, Bam Adebayo is always going to continue to just be just a perfect a winning player. A winning player can fit in any lineup. Doesn't matter what's going on in the lineup. You can put him in the lineup, and it's going to be impact on what he does. He'll be more aggressive because he has to. He has to now. You don't want somebody else to come to the team and become the second option or first option when however you want to phrase it. You've been drafted by this team. You've been to the finals twice. You've gone to the All-Star game with that jersey on. So it's very important. It's very important that he continues to stay aggressive. Should be average to me. I feel like at this point from now on, 25 a night. I mean, he should be able to. I feel like he could average to, if he could get to 20, just a little bit more shots. It's not a matter of like he can't do it. Just sometimes he lets the game come to him, and he still gets efficient shots. But now it's you and Hero. You have to be aggressive. You have to be aggressive. That's what we're starting to see in the last few games before the regular season ended. He was much more aggressive. They're winning games. They went on that 10-game losing streak, and then I believe they went on like a 5-6 game winning streak. So it's important, and to me, it's a better matchup. It's a better matchup because it's a better matchup against Cleveland because the experience Miami has, and their top two players have, elite playoff experience, and the East that really rivals Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So. When you look at what they've been able to do in their young careers, both under 28, I'm not saying it's. I wouldn't. We'll do our predictions, but I feel like it's going to be a competitive series. Coaching, players. It's not just one of these things where it's going to be a cakewalk. So the best team won. Atlanta. They just need more time. They need more time. Now there was a point where I didn't really see any direction with the Atlanta Hawks. I'm not sure what they were going to do. Reece Shea was still growing, still developing. He's a rookie, so those things he's going to go through growing pains. He's the one pick, a lot of pressure, big city in the United States, coming from France, like that. Those things matter. Like, a lot of people don't talk about that. That's real life stuff. You come from a different country, coming to the United States, a big city like Atlanta, you're the number one pick. It's a lot of expectations on you playing with one of the best point guards in the world. It's big time. He started to get better as the season ended, and that was the best thing for me to see. Reece Shea continue to grow, get better as the year was ending, because that means he can transition that into the off season, add things to his game, get stronger. Then he has a routine in the NBA. That's just going to make him a better player. He has a great form. His form is great. Like, I don't know if you've seen him shoot. But his form is nice, solid. At 6'9", 6'10", with that type of form, he's going to be special. As long as he stays aggressive, has a dog mentality, he's going to be good. He's going to be good for sure.
I will say this. I didn't get to watch the game because, of course, I mentioned I was at my son's game. Just so I'm looking at, I'm going to quote say highlights, but of the stat line. And it does concern me. I mean, yes, I know he's a rookie, but he was the number one pick, or his second pick, wasn't he?
He's the number one pick.
Yeah, okay, number one pick. And he played only 15 minutes in this play-in game, and he only had 3 points. 1 of 11 from the free throw line, 0 for 7 from 3. And he made 1 free throw. So he only made a 2 and a free throw and shot 7 threes and missed them all. So, and again, I understand he's a rookie, and I get that. But he couldn't have done more than 2 points or 1 basket. So, I mean, like you said, though, what is he, 19? So, I mean, he's still very young on that. So even have the play-in experience here is good for him. Hopefully this is something that does grow. Atlanta, I don't trust them. I never have. I think they found gold one season when they beat the Knicks in the playoffs, and then they are still running on that one. So nobody expected that, but yet they feel like that was still what they're all about. But what really looked to me in the stats, man, was just the 17-8 in overtime point-wise. Miami, 17 points. Of course, Atlanta only getting 8 points. Like, did fatigue set in? Did you get to watch that? Because usually when something like that happens, someone got hot for a little bit. And we know basketball is a game of streaks. But looking 17-8 in overtime after you score 29 in the fourth quarter, was fatigue an issue for this?
when it comes down to conditioning, there's just levels. Eric Spoelstra, conditioning championship, strength and conditioning.
Right.
And Quinn Snyder is a really good head coach. I mean, coach of the year, all different types of stuff. So it's not like it's no slouch over there on the other side. But there's just levels and there's expectations when you wear the uniform, and you have to be the most conditioned athlete for sure. And that I feel like that was on display, no question, in overtime on the road as well.
Yeah. And actually, I don't know if you guys know this or even you, CJ, but while trying to read some recaps there, in their head-to-head series, whoever was home won the game by double digits. So this is even bigger that Miami were able to go in and win on the road twice, like we've already said, and get this win at Atlanta where they've not won all season. To win like they did. Again, Hero is really, before our eyes, turning into their number one option here, like big time. Bam only had, I want to say 12 shots in the game. He was the third or fourth in shots attempts, and I agree with you. I think if they have a chance, he has to score at least 20 points with flirting with, I want to say a triple-double. I'm going to say at least a double-double and 5 or more assists if he's not getting 25 points. So I'm going to say at least 20, but if he's getting 5 to 8 assists, I'm still fine with that. But I mean, I know we're jumping into that matchup, but man, this is going to be a good series, a 1-8 series here for the very first round. Like, I'm excited for this because there's a lot of rivalry here in this when it comes to playoffs in the past, 5 to 6 years.
Absolutely. I just feel like for Bam, 25-point triple-double. It's possible. He can do it. He has the talent to do it.
Yeah, he really does.
Because, I've seen him get the triple-doubles. Now with Khalil Ware, if he's aggressive, he's bringing now it's 2-on-1. It's 2-on-1 now. So those, Khalil Ware's in that room or in that dunker spot. I mean, those are even easier assists in addition to the driving kicks and the cutting from other players on the team when he's bringing the center out the paint. It's, I feel like he could easily do it. So they're gonna need something like that from him against the Cavaliers. I mean, this is the playoffs now. So I'm expecting. He's been all NBA before, so I'm expecting. Greatness from everybody, both teams, and that's what makes the postseason so great. Oh yeah, just for Atlanta for sure. Just one thing before we transition, they just have to. They need Jalen Johnson and Risa Shear's development to continue to grow, and as long as that's the focal point, they have to be the primary options scoring wise for the Hawks if the Hawks want to be successful going forward. And then Trae Young, in doing that, Trae Young will have even more assists and his field goal percentage will be higher because he does take a lot of bad shots. It's just what the efficiency. You look at his field goal percentage over the course of his career speaks to that. You watch the games, teams go under. You know what I mean? So, people have this like, the notion that he's like Steph Curry, he's like, it's not. That's not what it is. He's he can get hot, and he can have moments where he could definitely go off, and he definitely has range, but it's not as efficient as that. It's not even close to the efficiency of Steph Curry. It's not even on the same level. He gets the output is the same, right? He has the same amount of the shot hierarchy is similar, right. But when it comes to not hurting the team with bad shots, there's levels. So he has to work on that part of his game. And like I said, if those two guys are the primary options, they're 6'9", 6'10". They can be game changers at the forward spot. We've seen that with Paolo and Franz, Brown and Tatum. In the East, that's what you need to be successful. And if they're able to do that, it really just depends on how quickly they develop. Trae Young could easily say, I'm tired of being in the play-in. I want to play somewhere else and I'm win now. Or want to play with some guys that are already all-stars because he hasn't really played with any all-stars yet. And that's kind of what everybody has. You have a duo. Your duo mate is an all-star. It's all-star. And you might have some former all-stars on there as well that could still contribute at a high level.
Right.
They don't have that. Right? They've never really had that, and they've never really put that around Trae Young. That's also, we have to be honest about that as well. So their development is going to be at the forward spot. Now you're going with a Kongu officially at the 5. Really depends on what you get for Capella or what you do there, because they're usually going to part ways, obviously. They just have to lock in. They have to lock in and really understand what's important for their future. You can keep Trae Young. You need a point guard. I would just let him know the vision. And if that's something he wants to be a part of, fantastic. But like I said, we need the shot efficiency to be much higher. Because you don't want this to be a bad habit into late 20s and 30s. We don't need that. We don't need that. So I want Atlanta to be successful. I want the East to be successful. It's a big city. They're playing in the playoffs. It's a big deal. So they've been right there, but they need to make some major moves, and they need some dogs.
And you said it earlier, at least there's a vision now of what we see. At first it's almost like they're hanging on by a thread at that mid-range, 6 through 10, if you want to say. And so now this is a stepping stone. Okay, you got the Rook. You see the 5 playing out now, so we can see how it goes. So I agree with you. If Trae Young, and of course he had 11 assists tonight, if he can get to that pass first, shoot second, or better shot selection, I think Atlanta is very close on that. So just piggybacking on that. So let's go ahead and switch on over. Of course, this game is going on, but we'll talk about the game earlier where the Mavs did beat the Kings 120-106. Of course, the Mavs that we've got will be playing Grizzlies, but they're actually playing now, which unfortunately looks one-sided quite a bit. It's right now Memphis is up 53 to Dallas 31. So, and it's just the second quarter. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on the Mavs-Kings game? And then we'll kind of jump around here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought Sacramento would win that game.
Except for us. We both said Dallas, didn't we?
Exactly, 100%. And it's just from the standpoint of I didn't trust Sacramento. Then you see right after what happens. They fire their GM.
Yep.
And then they hire somebody else right away. So you don't even really do process. You just pick a guy right after you fire somebody else. It just screws this function, right? The Kings, they went back to being the Kings.
Yep.
If you're an owner, right, and you said DeRozan and Levine didn't work. I'm looking at what happened in Chicago. It didn't work in Chicago. Why would you bring that to your team? You gave up one of the best point guards in the league, one of the best players in the league, in De'Aaron Fox, to the point where he wanted to leave. And he stayed there longer than anybody else. He was there since 2017. And you force him out there. And it's not even like he went to like a big, of course he went to go play with Victor Wembanyama.
Right.
He's smart, but again, it's not like where he went to LA or, one of these big market situations. So it goes to show you that it's still about winning, but it's also about going to a really good organization now that supports their players. So the Kings have just been the laughing stock. I thought they were trending towards the right direction, but ultimately what we saw was that they're just still the same type of team because of their owner. And since their owner cannot get out his own way, it's going to be very difficult for the Kings to have success. Feel bad for the fans. They kind of they got fooled. Really, they thought they had something special, like the beam, the things that they had going on. But when you have bad ownership at the top, these things are going to happen. It's just, and you got now. What does Sabonis go out and say? He says in the exit interview, he says, we need a point guard. You just had a point guard. And truthfully, they had 2 point guards before Sabonis got there. They should have kept that. They should have kept that duo, Fox and Halliburton. You had Fox and Halliburton. They complemented each other perfectly. Halliburton was a pass first that could, do the 20. He's okay with getting 19 and 18. He's okay with that. And they would have been, and they would have been able to share the ball. We've seen LeBron and Luka possession wise. They could have shared possessions easily. You had Fox and Tyrese Halliburton right there. You had 2 All NBA players at the guard spot, and what happens? It's crazy.
They traded for Sabonis on that trade, didn't they? I'm pretty sure, anyways. So yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, the Kings really did Kings things here. Fox should have never left. He was the whole team. I mean, even Cousins was talking about, hey, I'd come out of retirement if you sign me that way I can leave on that good note. There already talks that the Pacers are the front runners to land Sabonis, where, of course, he was traded for. So he's got ties there. Man, the Kings, you really just you blew it, honestly. Let's be honest. I mean, straightforward here. I mean, okay, I'm understanding if we could have got Fox and Halliburton at this level in their career together on the same team, that'd have been crazy. It'd been a landing spot for free agency just to put pieces in with that, with those 2 young, dynamic guards. Okay, I get it. You went for Sabonis to have guard big. I get it. But, like, we even on the show said so many times they need a true center. Sabonis can't be that center. He's undersized for that. But he can't shoot the 3. Hopefully he develops that as he goes on in his career. And so in fixing the center position, which we thought was the most important, you went out and got DeRozan and LaVine. And finally you end up with Valanciunas, who I think is a good player, but he's starting to get a bunch of age on him. This team is just – it's the Suns, which is true. It's just Sacramento. I mean, let's just be honest. We think we're going to get something good from them, and they fail at it. I mean, the last time we really had the Kings as a good contender was like 2000, 2001. And Sacramento's a pretty big city. Like, they should be able to do better than this. But it's the front office in this situation. Guys, hire me and CJ for your front office, and we can make this happen. I mean, you don't let players like Halliburton go. You don't let Fox, who has been committed to you all, walk, basically. I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't. Do they not have the money? It's Sacramento.
I don't know. I feel like that's going to go down as one of the. It's not a worst trade, but it's not a bad trade because Sabonis ended up having a great, great years with the Kings. But upside wise, and you don't miss that. I feel like you could have found it. You could have got a big. It was good, bro. You could have got a big. Yeah, the ownership is terrible. It's terrible. They easily could have found a center later on. You keep those 2 guards. You see Halliburton and Fox. that was, again, that just speaks to the organization. The Mavs are down right now to the Grizzlies, 64-41. 3 minutes left in the second. But they got this win on the road in Sacramento to be able to be in this game today. And I feel like it was a good win. It was a good win for them. They're not fully manned. And they didn't draft Luka. Well, Luka didn't want to go there. He didn't want to go there. And that's why they took Bagley. And then the Hawks. I don't think he wanted to go to the Hawks either. And that's what Cuban stepped in to make that trade so Luka could go 3rd. But again, it's just even Luka sort of writing on the wall as a 18-year-old. It's just what they are. I think Dallas, again, we have to see this team when Kyrie is there. I think they're going to end up making another move to stay competitive. What that move will be, we'll see. But I think it's definitely going to be another big-time move because that's what they're going to need to be able to compete in the Western Conference. And the things that Nico Harrison is saying, he does the media, the press run with no cameras. It's just weird. It's kind of just when it was orchestrated by the ownership. That's the ownership and the people that own these teams. Stuff matters. Stuff matters, man. A lot of these people, they don't know anything about basketball. They have a lot of money. They buy things. But they don't really know about the game of basketball. And what you need, look at your team. Yes, you hire people and you trust them to make decisions. based on the knowledge that they have. That's why you pay them. But I feel like if you're going to be the owner of a NBA team, you have to have knowledge of the game of basketball. Like, even if you develop it as your owner, you need to be able to understand the game, because that's the only way you're going to make money, is if you have a winning product. So why wouldn't you be able to understand what's going on? So I don't really see that with the Mavericks. And obviously, when they make a trade like that for Luka, we still really don't know why. It's just a lot. It's still a lot of confusion centered around that. They do the press conference. He's just saying defense wins championships, and they played really great defense in this game. Hopefully, we'll see what they were able to turn it around in the second half against the Grizzlies right now. But there's definitely potential there. You look at that front court. Look at the Suns. Yeah. We're gonna talk about that, bro. You look at their front court: AD, Lively, and Gafford. You know, that's easily 30 points and 30 rebounds. I expect 30 points and 30 rebounds combined for all three players. And the 30 points, it should be like 30 points plus. You know what I mean? But the 30 rebounds plus. You have three players with the athletic ability to be able to get 10 rebounds in the game. With the amount of possessions that's in the NBA today, with the shots that these teams get up, there should be no question that all three of those players should be able to get a double-double easily. And then plus they make each other better with the assists, the way they can be at spacing-wise. Going forward, they're going to be dangerous. They just need an orchestrator. They need a point guard. When they get Kyrie there, it's going to make them even more dynamic. Clay spacing the floor. Clay had a big game in this matchup. 23 points. Had a big second quarter. Got it going from three. He needs to, he's older. It's different. It's not the same type of Clay. He had battled through injuries and whatnot. But when he has these type of games and he has it going on, good luck. Because now he's open. Because you have to draw to that paint. You have to. So good win by the Mavericks. It's still a very confusing team based on who runs the team, but the roster wise, their roster is good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with everything you really say on that part of it. Just like we said many times, they're one piece away, and that piece is hurt. Of course, there's rumors now that he might actually make it back before the All-Star break. I think it would be questionable to do that. Just go ahead and let him have that, make it that far, recover 100%, and that way there's no question about re-injury or the capability of maximizing his potential there from coming back. So, yeah, I can't wait to see this team at full throttle, really, with someone at point guard running the helms, telling everybody where to be at to read the defense and see what to do. You got unlimited pick and roll options with all three of the guys that you mentioned, even PJ Washington. I wouldn't say so much pick and roll, but more pick and pop if you wanted to. Of course, he's more set in the corner for that the off weak side 3-pointer off of the pick and roll and whatnot. But yeah, I think this is a team that could be interesting. Hopefully they can put it together and we don't have another Suns where we get some big threes and then nothing happens with it because there's no bench, but we'll see how it pans out. So let's go ahead and jump over to our next topic we got here. Of course, we already mentioned that the Grizzlies are winning against the Mavs right now. Of course, for them to be playing in this game, we do want to talk about that the Warriors did beat Memphis 121-116. Now, Miami, wow, I'm going way back. The Warriors are the 7th seed and will be playing the Rockets in the first round. I don't want to get too far ahead. What did you think about the win with the Warriors? Let's just be honest. Jimmy looked wonderful out there, even though he doesn't look right in the yellow, blue, and white. It should be the red, black, and white, but it happens. It's over with. I got to move on. What's your thoughts? I know you're pulling up a graphic. I'm sorry. I should keep talking.
Yeah, bro. It was a really good game from Jimmy and the Clippers in that first game when they went up against the Clippers on Sunday. Jimmy and Steph really played well, even though they lost in that game in overtime. And then you transition to that game against the Grizzlies. They just kept it going. Jimmy really started the game early, aggressive, going to the basket, setting guys up. And then once the fourth quarter came around, that's when we saw what Steph was able to do. He was able to stay fresh, stay healthy, keep the legs spry, go out there, knock down shots. I think the thing with the Warriors is what Jimmy Butler brings, he brings a combination of KD and Iguodala. What Iguodala was able to do in terms of the versatility as a defender, be able to cut, knock down timely shots from the outside, great passer, can play off the ball. And then the KD traits is to give him the basketball late in the shot clock, clutch, could get 40, he could get 50, takes his game to another level in the playoffs. So he has the traits of both of those players in one player. And that's something that they haven't really had since they've lost that player now. Andrew Wiggins showed flashes of that. And that's what really, with Poole, that those guys combined help them with the core team of what
fill that void
to get that championship. But now you can, and it extended both of those players thinking that they would be the future. And obviously we know what happened there, but you be able to get Jimmy Butler now, still hungry, still wanting to win that championship. And Steph wants to, still play at a high level. I saw the clip, but the people were saying that Steph would never win any championships. Again, before he won the one in 2022, they said he would never win any championships, 0. So now you bring in somebody that, went to the finals twice, unsuccessful, and now you're playing with one of the greatest players in the world. He's played with great players already, Wade, Rondo. It's not like he's something that he's not accustomed to. And I'm a fan of the duo. It's a duo we never saw coming at all, but I think they complement each other so well. And I'm excited to see them play for the next few years. And, up until Jimmy's contract, so they can be able to compete. And I think it's been fun. I think it's going to be a great matchup against the Rockets. The Rockets Warriors have a lot of history. That Steph is playing the new generation of the Rockets. He was playing one generation of the Rockets. Now he's playing another completely different Rockets team. So it's going to be exciting to watch, and what this duo could do. I think the sky's the limit.
I agree 100% with you, especially what you're saying that Jimmy Butler's like the KD and AI basically all into one as far as the defense that you get. Just the toughness from Butler when you need that just quick basket, something that's not very fancy, just someone that's, hey, I'm going to the hole no matter what. I'm going to shoot a most athletic shot that I can and score. And it gives Steph that time to relax, not all that pressure on him for the whole game. Like, I think it's a wonderful pickup by them, of course, that they made that trade. Just watching that game, Steph didn't have to have the ball in his hands so much. And I think that's the positive from this is you can let Jimmy Butler basically run the offense at the stretch one, as you want to call it, whatever, 3-1, running the point guard, and Steph is almost the 1-2. It's really nice. And they already kind of know where they're supposed to be on this. So if if Jimmy Butler needs to be taking over the game, Steph is still there at any point to be able to jump in and take over as well. And I think it keeps him fresher, longer, more active at his high level. So, yeah. And they work well together. They can even do the pick and fade with him. And what's crazy is watching how many people were backing off of Butler from his three. And, of course, everyone always says Butler can't shoot the three, but yet the ones I saw him shooting, he knocked down. So, I mean, if he's hot from the three-point line or at least keeping it respective, you can't go under that. And if you go over top and trailing, he's going to the hole. And if you rotate over there, you have Steph Curry, who's probably wide open because that's who you've got to release from for your rotation there. I mean, if you place it right with Kerr designing those offense, that's unguardable, honestly. So it really starts, in my opinion. I don't want to say that Jimmy Butler's the X factor of how far they go, but it really depends on how well offensively he's coming. Because sometimes he can't shoot very well or he's having an off night. but he can still get to the lane and get that mid jump shot where he is contested and still pull off some kind of junk and make it go in. And when he's doing that and kicking out to Steph where he can create or even have a Draymond setting the pick for Steph off of that, it's phenomenal. And I think that, well, I don't know if we want to get into that, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the Warriors in this game. I honestly don't think that's too far-fetched, but do we want to go there?
The Warriors in that series?
Absolutely.
All right, tell us why, bro.
For many factors, in my opinion. Steph Curry's already been here, already been doing this. Jimmy Butler, you already mentioned, on the East Coast, led his team to two finals, going through the Celtics, going through the Bucks. He has that desire to be the best that he can be and win win a championship. So Draymond Green, obviously, I think Draymond and Steph know this is towards the end of their career, and they want to get that one more ring to prove that they can do it without Clay and without KD as well. So I think they have, I'm going to say, the chip on their shoulder, but their desire to get this ring is super huge for them too. And of course, it's very huge for Jimmy Butler, who doesn't have one that has been there so many times now. So I think their mentality of win now and the experience that their three core, if you want to call them core, I think they're a core. It's just Jimmy Butler's still new to the team, has so much more veteran experience than what we have with the Rockets. Van Fleet, yes, has some experience winning a championship. Brooks has experience in playoffs and whatnot. But I think the X's and O's of what the players are going to be bringing, I'm going to be nice and say Warriors in 6. I don't think it goes 7, but I think Warriors in 6.
It's a very fun matchup. Rockets, Ime Udoka, they've done a great job against the Warriors this season. Their lineup looks very different, and the matchups is different now. I mean, in some of those games when they played each other in the regular season, Jimmy Butler wasn't there. He wasn't on the team yet. Looking to the playoffs, game planning, Steve Kerr versus Udoka again. And what has Udoka learned in terms of what he could take from those losses? That loss in the NBA Finals a few years ago. And now, as the number 2 seed, having home court advantage again, and being able to capitalize and get these wins, have a young team. Şengün is the guy for them that needs to be dominant. I'm talking to really put the Warriors away, it has to be around 28, 13, 6 assists. He's a young player, so I'm not saying this has to happen right now, but I'm saying if they want to win this series, they're going to need Jalen Green and Alperen Şengün to be dominant and play well. They have to hit timely shots late in the shot clock. When all the sets don't work, who's going to take the ball and go get a basket for the team when you're down 6, so you can take it down to 3 or 4. We'll kind of keep it going, keep that momentum alive. You know the game is still full of runs. They're going to need those. They're young, big-time players that they just extended to be able to play well down the stretch in the fourth quarter, because it's going to get close. They need to use their youth and their pace and do that throughout the entire game and really, bring this series to 6-7 games. If we ever get it to 7 games, get that home court in a game 7. We've seen Steph drop 50 on the road in a game 7 in Sacramento. So it's not like it's out of the realm of reality that he could go out there and still dominate on the road. And works. And I'm expecting the Warriors to be able to get a couple wins on the road, even though they have a really good home record, 21-7 since the All-Star break. It's one of the best records in basketball. It's just, who do I trust? When you look at a checklist in terms of what's important in the playoffs, great players, coaching, role players, The Rockets have some really good. They have some talented guys. Tari Eason, Allen Thompson, Dylan Brooks, Van Vliet. Those veteran guys that they brought in, can help, and they're going to be able to make shots and help game plan and what to do. But I just feel like ultimately, with Steph and with Jimmy bring Draymond as well, with the playmaking, their depth, I feel like, is underrated. Moses Moody is going to really have to have a solid series offensively and defensively. He can't be in foul trouble. Podziemski as well. He also has to play well in the minutes where Steph is on the bench. He has to be efficient, take timely shots, get the other guys involved, play really good defense. They can't just use you put you on the island and cook. That can't happen. You have to be able to, lock in, and he's been able to do that. He's been in the starter lineup, playing really well. They just need the continued greatness from the other people around them. Kevon Looney just always. I mean, he's going to be big time in the series. This is the type of series that's really key for him, because he could be out there and play. Because Şengün's he's a slower guy. He's a half court guy, so Looney could be there, use his body, use his length, use his high IQ, get those offensive rebounds. When you got a guy getting 7-8 offensive rebounds, that's demoralizing for the opposing team. Because now you kind of have to worry about that guy now. If that guy's getting 7-8 offensive rebounds, you have to see where he's at. And he's not even a player that has plays called for him. So if you're worried about that specific aspect, what he's able to do, we've seen him do that in series and the playoffs. We saw him do that, and which of them winning that championship. He has some big time double games. So you can't sleep on him, even though he doesn't have like superstar minutes. But in this type of series, when you have Steven Adams, Alperen Şengün, it's a perfect matchup. He's great to have out there, and he's not slow. He's still very athletic at 6'9", so he's going to be big for the Warriors as well. So when you say they don't have size, these so-called analysts saying they don't have size, I don't necessarily agree with that. You've seen Draymond always play bigger than his height. So why would that ever change for me? As you've already seen him win 4 chips, playing bigger than his height, having higher IQ than any of these guys at the 4 and 5 spot. I expect nothing else in this series. It's going to be physical. It's going to be one of the, a great first round matchup, but I'm going with the Dubs at 6. Yeah.
Okay, so good. So you're with me then. Dubs at 6. Awesome. I was kind of worried that you may think I'm crazy with that one, but I mean, just the experience that they're bringing, that alone is so heavy to weigh when in any matchup on this. So, I mean, yeah, it's just Dubs and 6. I mean, Warriors are the team. Of course, I've already said that I think that they have a chance of winning it. So, all right, I made us jump a little bit.
Yeah, but just real fast, Jalen Green, man, I really want to say this. Jalen Green got on social media. That's cool, fine, great.
Right.
But, what are you going to do in this series? I mean, he could really change the complexity of this. His talent, he's very immensely talented. He's one of the best. He has some of the highest athleticism and upside than any player, but we see 30 and then we see 12. He needs to be consistent. If it could be 23, consistent 23 on efficient numbers with Şengün and Allen Thompson, flirting with a triple-double. His outside perimeter shooting is going to be key in this series, because if he's able to knock down corner threes with everything else he does, he can mess around. He's able to get triple-doubles as well. With the defense, that matchup on Steph, he's going to be guarding Steph, going around the screens. He has to be ready, well-conditioned, has to be very disciplined. And he also has to trust, and he also has to communicate with the people it's his teammates in terms of what's happening on those screens. You have to be able to communicate. If you're not communicating with that guy on the screen, you're done. And you see it, and that's really that's the main reason why these guys get beat, is a lack of communication. Draymond and Steph, they're communicating, but on the defensive end, it's not the same. That's why they always get cooked. And that's why it's one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen. So Allen Thompson's going to have it's a tall task. It's different in the playoffs. And you sleep on the cutting as well. Steph Curry's ability to get to the basket is very underrated. Very underrated. even to this day.
I think for the Rockets to have a chance in this, they need to make this a fast-paced game and keep it as full-court offense, defense as possible. In my opinion, they don't need to be half-court offense or defense or offense at all. I know Shangoon that really benefits from that, but for them to be on defense, personally, I know it's crazy, but they need to be on ball, pressure constantly. As soon as they throw it in full court, picking them up and trying to speed up Steph Curry to get him moving, get the ball out of his hands, and that way, hopefully, they're spread out and they can't run so much of their offense from their picks and the cuts and backdoors, everything they do on that. If I'm the Rockets, I am really trying to push the pace on this as much as I can. I mean, if they start installing the ball, I mean, by running their offense, I don't mean truly installing, but like, hey, start pressuring, double team on something, jump some picks, and try to cause turnovers. And if you don't get them, it speeds them up to try to score, and let's just get the ball and go. Because to me, for the Rockets to have a chance, they have to be like trying to outscore the record in points in a playoffs, like 130 to 140 kind of games for this. So, I mean, I do think they're getting one win, maybe two. I definitely think they get 2 wins, but I don't know any more than that. So that's my opinion on that. I don't want to not talk about the Rockets. So do you agree with me? Like it has to be a fast-paced offense for them.
100%. They have to get, but they also have to get stops. And
of course,
getting stops is very key. I think these are going to be tough games. I think it's going to just go down to the wire and who's able to make shots. And you ask me, who do I trust in the playoffs? Rank the players that you trust. And I'm not looking at it as 2-7. I'm looking at it as the Rockets versus the Warriors.
Yeah.
You know, and what these teams have looked like over the last 30 games. And the Rockets have played really well, and so has Golden State. So now I think about who do I trust in the playoffs? Steph Curry's number 1, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. Right there. One, two. Those are the first 3 players you trust in the playoffs.
All on the same team.
All on the same, exactly. Coaching wise, even though Udoka is great, easily could be Coach of the Year candidate. They went from the 11 seed to the 2 seed in the West. Easily could be a Coach of the Year candidate. But you still got Steve Kerr. So that's really what it comes down to. You know, late in the game, knocking down shots, momentum, game-changing plays, momentum, creating moments. The more, you know, taking the life out of the team, going on, you know, 10-point stretches that really could demoralize the other team, put games away. Big time third quarters that change the second half. Will the Rockets be able to respond to that? Weather the storm, and vice versa. And vice versa. I think there's going to be a great chess match, but I'm still going with the Dubs in 6 games. Tough games.
Reminds me of the Kings Warriors matchup that we had a couple years ago. You know, the Kings were the top favorite team as far as the ranking, but yet their lack of experience was also on that team. And that's why I think the Warriors, of course, that was in 7, but that was a great matchup. I think it's going to be a high-scoring matchup just like this with that series. So, yep, Dubs in 6. We've said it enough. Let's keep on moving here. Where are we at next? We kind of jumped. Do we want to talk about this matchup here? I guess the Boston Celtics taking on number 7 Orlando. Of course, Orlando did beat the Hawks for that 7th seed. That's why they're the number 2 seed against 7 there. And I actually think this matchup is going to be an intriguing series. I'm going to say this, but before we get going, I guess I'll say it. I don't think there's any sweeps in the first round. I don't think there's no 4-0. Do you?
No, I don't see any sweeps. I do not.
This really is going to be a really fun playoffs. So, what do you think of the Celtics Magic matchup? Of course, Magic back in the playoffs, in the season, they were up ranked 2nd for a while. Did fall back due to injuries and everything. They did fall so far. Had a spell back and forth where they went on runs, went on and lost some in a row. Of course, they did make it to the 7th seed here. So, defending champions against Orlando Magic. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this matchup in the playoffs for a little while. I thought we'd see it a few years ago. it's kind of the present versus the also present and future when you look at the duos at that forward spot, Brown, Tatum, Banchero, and Wagner. So the thing I see with Orlando, they're gonna need their point guard play to be efficient. You look at Cole Anthony Black. Those are the two players that have to play well in the series. They have to be able to space the floor because Banchero and Wagner, they're not great floor spacers. They're really good in terms of going to the midi, going to the basket, going to the free throw line, but they're not great outside shooters yet. So you're going under that screen. So if they're still be able to use their athleticism to go to the basket and still draw two, you need KCP, Wendell Carter Jr., Cole Anthony, Gary Harris is going to have to knock down shots. You need those players to space the floor and be efficient to create easier lanes for this dynamic duo. I think that in order can they win 2 games, I'm going to go with the Celtics in 5, just because I don't know if Orlando can have that spacing, and even with the other guys being able to knock down shots. If you're going under that screen, Banchero, they have to make that shot. They have to make those shots. Mm-hmm. You can't just try to drive on 2 all the time. If they don't trust you, you have to be able to knock down those shots. This is your team. You have to play well. You have to play well. So 50 combined between both players. You have to start there. Plus, and both of them can be able to rebound and have high assists, but the floor spacing is going to be very key to maybe get it to 2 games. But I'm gonna go with the Celtics in 5. I just feel like even with Brown not being 100% with the knee, I still feel like they have the depth, the IQ. In terms of they're going to have the home court advantage. They get a lot of threes up, and everybody can play well. They get to the basket. It's going to be a fun matchup. We're going to see some really good moments in this series. But I'm going with the Celtics in 5.
I'm going to say Celtics in 6, just so we're not saying the same thing as much on this episode here, because I think Magic are a good team, and they actually physically, I think, match up pretty well against them as far as on the defensive side. But I do agree the shot selection, the knockdown that they have to, if they're open, they have to be ready to take that. I'm more worried about the mistakes where they aren't used to playoffs. If they can minimize the turnovers in this, because, Celtics play great defense. They really can switch 1 through 4, if not 5, if you want to. I won't say with Al Horford out there if he is, but, most of the lineups that they're at least they can switch 1 through 4. They can spread you out on offense. Everyone can shoot on that team, basically. So it's going to be hard for them to guard. But if they can stay physically or focused in mentally on the game and stay turnover free and assignment reads correctly, I think they have a chance to win 2. So I'm going to go push them the button here of saying they're going to win 2 and say Celtics in 6, because I don't want to keep saying the same thing. But
you got Boston in 6. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible. It's very possible. Yeah. Banchero and Wagner, they could go off in one of these games and possibly get 2 wins. I can definitely see that. But I also see just what the Celtics do well really outweigh
causing
some of the yeah, and it's just not just those guys not being able to shoot the ball well. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure if we're going to be able to see that. They just have the pedigree. They know how to win. They know how to win everywhere when the game is close. Even when they're not shooting their threes, they have closers. They have guys who can get in the mid-range and knock down shots. So fun matchup. I think, Orlando, they're going to definitely learn from this series. They're going to grow, just like the Celtics when they were younger. They learned from those series against the Cavs, going up against LeBron, understanding what they needed to do in order to play in Milwaukee, understanding what they need to do Miami, taking losses, having lessons in series and growing and say, okay, this is where we need to work on going forward in the offseason so we can be able to get, home court advantage, get a game 7, win a couple games on the road. So I think this will be more of a lesson for Orlando, but I just feel like it's just a different level right now. And I'm going with the Celtics for sure.
All right, so let's talk about this one, which I think you're going to love. I think it's a very interesting matchup. Might be the best matchup in the first round as far as how it goes physically, emotionally, if you will, and the longevity of this series. So, of course, we're talking about the New York Knicks, number 3, going against the number 6 Detroit Pistons. Physical meets physical. Superstar against superstar here. I mean, I thought with every team, but man, the Pistons, let's just be honest. Are the bad boys back? Or is it just pretenders on that? But, we'll get to that. Just the fact that they went from where they were last season, 22, 27 games, whatever it was, losing streak in a row, to be in the playoffs, don't even have to play in the play-in games. It's phenomenal what they've turned that team around to. Cade being the superstar for them, the leader for them. Man, I think Brunson's going to have big games. I think just the mentality of I'm getting my buckets, doing what I've got to. The biggest fear, I'm going to say, is how Karl Anthony Towns plays on the defensive side. We know he can score. We know he can shoot. We know he can do whatever he wants to. But can he be that defensive player down low and get boards with it as well? That's one thing I feel like Cat has always kind of not been the best at, is maximizing his rebound ability. So I'm going to say Knicks in 7.
Knicks in 7. Yeah, so
is that what you say?
No, okay. That's not my prediction.
Okay.
I look at the Pistons. What I've seen, how they've played this year has been great. JB Bickerstaff's done a phenomenal job. Motivated. Are you telling me he's not motivated? He's seeing what the Cavs are doing right now, and he kind of helped build that over there in Cleveland, and they kind of get rid of him, and now he's going to Detroit. So he easily fits the identity and kind of what Detroit is all about in terms of trying to get back to where that type of prominence, to what we used to see in the early 2000s, of course, in the 80s and in the 90s. That was the genesis of everything. But when they were really at the top of their game with the bad boys, like you referred to, we saw with Chauncey, Rip Hamilton, Sheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, elite stuff going to multiple Eastern Conference Finals appearances, getting that chip in 2004. Now 21 years later, going through a lot of trials, tribulations as an organization, a lot of lessons, a lot of losses, but get Cade Cunningham, someone that wants to transform an organization, transform a franchise, wants to put the city on his back. That's what we've seen him do. That's exactly what he's been able to do. With this Piston team, got hurt in the beginning of his career. He's been able to stay healthy. They put some really good players and pieces around him. This was the year when they put some really good veterans. Malik Beasley having a career year, second in the NBA in three-point makes, closing games in the lineup. He's coming off the bench. So you got Asar Thompson, Isaiah Stewart. That's going to be a good matchup. He's from New York, so it's extra motivation there. I'm sure. He has his ways and his tactics. I wouldn't call him a dirty player by any means. I do not believe he's a dirty player, but he's a player that will try to get into your head and take you off your game. And if you sleep on him, he could get buckets and knock down shots and do the little things that can actually hurt you as a team. So you just have to be mentally sharp, not really get into all of that. It's similar like Dylan Brooks. and Draymond Green. He's kind of in that tier. Now it's not to the level. Sometimes Draymond Green's, he's crash out Green, right? He takes it to a completely different level. So you don't wish that if you're the Pistons, because you still need him out there for the physicality, like we talked about. It's in the same realm as the Warriors and the Rockets, right? A lot of upside, immense upside, and completely impressive what we've seen and how they've been able to, weather the storm throughout the season and have success. Losing Jaden Ivey, I mean, if this team had Jaden Ivey, we could be having different discussions. Maybe the team looks different seating wise. Who knows? Mm-hmm. So, like I said, their potential is endless. But right now in this series, I'm going with my guys. Obviously, of course. Lineup wise, I feel like we have the better lineup. Coaching, I'm gonna go with Tibbs, but Biggerstaff is, like I said, Biggerstaff has been incredible. It's been incredible, man. It's not a situation where it's like I'm still favoring Tibbs, but it's very close. It's very close. There's been a lot of talk. People are picking the Pistons. People think that Malik Beasley doing a lot of talking on social media. Listen, it's different in that garden. They're going to find out tomorrow at 6:00 what it's like in the city. When it's playoff time, it's different. It's different. Once we get it going, start knocking down shots and getting stops, it's a different atmosphere. Like, yeah, they played really well against us in the regular season, but the way the home crowd is here, it's different. It's a different vibe. It's not something that we'll see if they're going to be able to withstand that. And I think they have some really talented. Like Cade is going to have to he averaged 30, almost a 30-point triple-double against the Knicks in the regular season. He's going to have to be able to do. He's going to have to do that again in the postseason if they want to be able to. I don't consider it an upset because they've beaten this team already. They know how to win against this team. They have film of winning against. So it's like, is it really an upset if you have film of winning against them multiple times? Is it really? I don't know. But our atmosphere, I think, a home court advantage. Brunson coming back at the right time, getting a couple games under his belt after being hurt with the ankle sprain. I just don't like the way it ended. It ended so sad last year for the Knicks. With Brunson breaking his hand, and we didn't even get to see any type of. It didn't look great in Game 7. Losing Anunoby. Is K ready for those bright lights in MSG? Yeah, I believe so. I think he's ready for the lights, but it's just a matter of I just don't know if they're going to win the games. I think it's going to be some really good games, but I just think what we're able to do, we got some great players. I'm looking at Karl-Anthony Towns. What's up? You made the trade for Randall. No Isaiah Hartenstein. We're going to need him to have a big series. I need him to be dominant in the paint. Start in the paint first, and then we can work on the outside shot. Work on the shoulder, two dribbles with the shoulder. He does that little jump hook with either hand. Start there, and then once they start attacking that a different way, then you can start knocking down the shots, going to the free throw line. You have to go to the free throw line. He doesn't go to the free throw line enough at his height. It has to be higher than that. He should be averaging 30 easy. 30 should come easy for him. Now I know there's great players on the Knicks roster. You should still be able to get 30. Just off getting to the free throw line, knocking down his free throws. He's a really good free throw shooter. I expect him to have a big series in the first round, guys. He has to. He needs to play well. He played really solid last year with the Timberwolves en route to them having that Western Conference Finals appearance. It has to go to another level. Look at the Knicks bigs, Willis Reed, Patrick Ewing. The city's already seen great front court players and win chips or go to the chip and have success. So he has the talent to easily etch his name in the history in this city for this organization. It starts on Saturday. It really does. I personally believe that I would favor having OG Anunoby being the second option in this series. I think his upside, he's the best athlete on our team, and he's the best defender on our team, and one of the best shooters. And what we saw, and the way we saw him play in Jalen Brunson's absence, right, going to the basket, doing having a handle, a bag. I was saying, I would tweet out all the time. I said he needs to work on his handle. It needs to get sharper because he can get to the basket. He doesn't need doesn't need to dribble like Kyrie. But if it's sharp enough, he could already use his athleticism to get by guys. If he's doing that plus the outside shooting, and now we saw him do, 2 dribble pull-ups from the 3. Ash, I'm like, yeah, he needs to be the second guy easily. I would love to see more Brunson and Anunoby screen action. I mean, that should be easily that should be ran a lot to me, because OG can play on and off the ball. And Brunson has played off the ball as well, playing with Luka. If he's playing off the ball and knocking down shots, it just makes us more dangerous. We don't always have to have Brunson set the screen, someone set the screen for Brunson, and Bridges and Anunoby are in the corner waiting to knock down a catch and shoot 3. Yes, that's a good play, and it's going to work because Brunson is a great free throw, mid-range shooter and scorer. But I would like to see OG Anunoby get the ball, come up with the ball, create plays for himself and for his teammates. Because if he's getting 25, 7, and 7 with his defense, game changer. He's in his prime. He played really well in the playoffs for us last year before he got hurt with the hamstring. I mean, he had 28. I was like, we might do some things against Boston. That's how I was feeling, the way he was playing in those 3 quarters. So I'm expecting him to play well in this series. He needs to get the basketball. He needs to be the second option for the Knicks. And Cat can still be able to do his thing, and I expect him to do so. But I think the upside for Anunoby, if he's our second scorer, our record was 6-1 or 7-1 when he scores 30. I mean, it's not a big sample size, but we get to spend $212 million. I need to see a few more games of that. And hopefully Thibodeau and his coaching staff, they see that as well, and we see that against this Piston team, because we're going to need it. We're going to need his physicality and his scoring.
So, what's your prediction?
I'm going with the Knicks in 6. The Knicks do have lapses. I think there's times in the third quarter where we play extremely poor and lose our opportunities to win games. We have very poor third quarters. Tibbs got to use a lot of OG in the series. Man, 15 to 20. I'm saying 20 to 23, bro. 15 to 20, making 15 to 20, 212. 5 years over 212. We need 20 to 24. If Bridges has it going, Hart's playing well. If other guys are playing well, then it doesn't necessarily need to be the high of a points per game. But if it's close and early on in the game, I honestly would get him started first. I would get him going first because the defense is a given. So if the offense is already there early with the defense, it puts us in a great spot for me. So we'll see what Tibbs does. Sometimes Tibbs doesn't always have an ability to adjust and adapt after a team takes away what we do well. That's what scares me sometimes with Tibbs, man. But Mitchell Robinson coming back into the lineup is key. It's big time. His offensive rebounds, Mitch, if you could just Mitch, you just keep your hands up, my brother. Keep your hands up, bro. And when you get that offensive rebound, kick it out to one of the shooters. When you get that offensive rebound, he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. When he was healthy, he would go up, which is fine. I like that aggressiveness. Dunk on them. If you're gonna go back up, dunk on them. Yeah. But if you're not, pick it out to the shooters, because somebody's gonna be open because everybody's collapsing on that rebound. Yeah. And that's something that he has. If he works on that, his assists go up. We could be looking at something scary. So Knicks in 6. I just think we have the better roster. We have Brunson was 3 40-point games in the playoffs out of 5 games. Like, what are we talking about? People trying to disrespect Brunson. Listen, I know Cade, his upside is endless, but what we already seen Brunson do in the playoffs, it's a little disrespectful, and I like the disrespect because we're going to rise to the occasion. We're going to rise to the occasion. I think we're going to play well in game one. I can't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be crazy. Tomorrow's going to be insane. So hopefully we get this dub in game one, man. Let's go.
All right. So, of course, there's other series we got going on. I think we got about 4 left to talk about here. Of course, before we get into this next one, let's go ahead and talk about that. Dame has been cleared to play in the first round. We don't know exactly when, but possibly what I think I read something that it's going to be second game more than likely. That way it gives some time to get some conditioning up and ready to go. So we will be getting Dame in the playoffs. We were worried about that with the blood clots and everything going on, but he has been cleared now. And I think that it single-handedly is a game changer for that series that we're about to get into. I'm happy that we're getting Dame time in the playoffs, especially in the East. One thing I've said numerous times on our show is that I think the Bucks are a dark horse for the Eastern Conference Finals here. They got a lot to prove, and they're going under the radar. Of course, let's see here. I'm trying to read your graphic here. Let me pull away the banner so we can see it better. Well, if I can get it to move.
Yeah, this is just a video from Shams kind of explaining what happened and Damian Lillard's recovery and then being cleared.
Gotcha.
Can you tell us about the status of Buck star Damian Lillard?
Malika, just over 3 weeks ago, Damian Lillard was diagnosed with a blood clot in his right calf. Now, in an unprecedented fashion, now 3.5 weeks later, today, Damian Lillard has been cleared from the blood clot in his calf. He's off blood thinning medication. He's cleared for full contact workouts starting today. He participated in a full practice with the Milwaukee Bucks today. And Bucks officials have been told by doctors that this is really remarkable, unprecedented recovery for him to do this. This has really never happened before in this length of time. It typically takes athletes several months, and even human beings several months to recover from this. So what are the reasons why? Some were the specialists involved in this, the early detection, and really the early treatment that started in the calf. Even before he was diagnosed in late March, I'm told Damian Lillard started blood thinning medication as a really preventative measure. And because of that, he's now able to make a return. Now, what does this mean for his status for game one against the Pacers on Saturday? I'm told he is still out for game one. He's going to use the next several days to ramp up, do more workouts, get his cardio. He has not played, obviously, in quite some time yet this season. But this is really a remarkable recovery for Damian Lillard, a guy a lot of people thought maybe would not even have came back this year.
Yeah, Shams.
So what's your thoughts, brother?
I didn't realize how great it was for his recovery time like that, but I thought it was funny that he said, it's really hard for the NBA players to get back, even human beings. So that was kind of comical. But
can you go back to
I think it's
Nick's comment? Go to Nick's comment real fast.
Yeah.
What he says?
Yep.
Win,
just that he originally had picked Indy over it, but now that Milwaukee's got Dame back, changes things. Yeah, I think it changes things big time, honestly. I think it puts the Bucks in the favor for this series. Now, I do think it's going to be interesting to see if he doesn't play that game one, if the Bucks are able to pull off the W on that, or if they're going to be playing from behind from at least losing one game here, or the first game. Of course, when you get to this point, it's almost mini-series. 2 games on the road. Can you steal 1 win? 2 games at home? Okay, let us at least get these 2 wins because they're home court. What can we do next? So I'm excited for it. I hope they're not rushing him in too fast with this. Of course, like they said, he's trying to get his condition way up. So probably not going to be for game 1, but game 2. So I'm actually going to go ahead. Do we want to get into the preview part of it now, I guess? I think this series might be the second most interesting series that we have in the first round. Of course, with the history of the Pacers and the Bucks in the past 2 years, what's all the bickering that they've done back and forth. I think they both are very motivated, as you said earlier, in this matchup. But I'm going to go with the Bucks in 7.
You got the Bucks in 7. Okay, so Dame coming back, it was the deciding factor for you.
Yeah, it's just, that's why they got rid of Drew, is for Dame to be in the playoffs with Giannis. I think Giannis himself can get 2 wins. I think now that they add Dame on here, I think that's 2 more wins for them. I think home court advantage is definitely going to pay out in this. Pacers can score in bunches. We know that. Even they won was in the championship game of the in tournament last year or 2 years ago. So I mean, they're ready to win. We know that. We know who we got. Halliburton. We've already talked about the skills that he has, plus the rest of the team there. So I think they win 2, maybe 3, but I'm going to go with the Bucks on this with their season that they have. I'm sorry, their veteranness that they have.
Yeah, I like Milwaukee, and I think they need to get it done in 6. They need to get it done in 6. So I think it's very imperative for them to get one of these wins on the road in game 1 or game 2. Game 1 will be perfect. If you're able to get that first win without Dame.
Dame,
Dame. I probably favor. They probably bring him back for game 3. For that first home game. I feel like that just makes a lot of sense marketing wise.
If they win game 1, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think the outcome of game 1 could definitely change things. Of course, his conditioning, something that Sean's referred to, is going to be a key factor in this, because now it's just not conditioning just for the coming back for a regular season game. It's much more than that. So Indiana, they play exactly to their team name. The way they play up and down the court. Halliburton, he has to do more than just 18 to 20. He has to be around 27, 28 with the assists, and it needs to be on that level in the playoffs. He has the capability to do that. He needs to do that in this series. If the Pacers want to advance in the first round. Miles Turner against Brook Lopez. Miles Turner's a younger player, but I feel like he doesn't necessarily always play to his talent. It kind of fades sometimes. But he can also have moments where he's can knock down the 3, be a game changer on defense. You just don't know what type of player you're gonna get sometimes. So he's very inconsistent. Obi Toppin, we know what he brings to the table. Transition, knock down 3s. You really know, like a floor spacing lob threat. That's pretty much what he is, and that's a perfect player in today's NBA. As a role player, be able to catch lobs and also space the floor. Great for that team. Mathurin, T.J. McConnell, Doc Rivers versus Rick Carlisle, 2 championship head coaches. So X's and O's are going to be there. We know Doc Rivers. We know the history in the playoffs. It has to be spoken. It has to be said. It has to be said because it's happened so many times. So, it can't go to 7. It can't go to 7. They have to get it done in 6. It's because of history. With Doc, honestly, there's no one on that roster that could guard Giannis. So, 30 is a given. Is it an efficient 30? That's the question. If it's an inefficient 30, now you're playing into the Pacers' hands. But if he's easily getting to the basket, dunking the ball, transition, getting guys open, they have some shooters: Taurean Prince, Gary Trent, Lillard, obviously, Green. They got guys that can space the floor at an efficient clip. So we know the type of attention that he brings when he's trying to go to the paint and go to the basket. I expect this to be a really good series. Pascal Siakam is going to have to play well. He's the X factor for the Pacers. This is why they brought him in. This is why they gave him the extension. I never saw him as a true number 2. I know he had a great series with Toronto in 2019 as kind of the quasi number 2 guy. I feel like from a scoring number 2 wise. In compliment with Leonard, but he has to play well. He has to be able to complement and offset what Giannis brings. Now, I'm not saying average 30, but it needs to be around 25, 26, space on the floor, 8 to 9 rebounds. Me personally, you should be able to get 10 rebounds. If you're 6'10", and you have a high usage rate, you should be able to get 10 rebounds. That's just my philosophy. It's just my philosophy. You're 6'10" with a high usage rate. You can't get 10 rebounds in today's NBA. There's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. So Siakam has to play. He has to be big time in the series. No question. And the other players are the Nemhart. He was knocking down some big time shots against the Knicks last year. So you can't sleep on him. These guys, they especially at home, they knock down shots, they get stops, they have lapses, and I have to talk about Doc Rivers' inability to, close out series. It's even with Dame and Giannis. Can Dame and Giannis offset some of the flaws that he has, X's and O's wise, in closing out these series? I feel like with Giannis already winning the championship, Bobby Portis coming back after the situation with the suspension and things that was going on with him. He's back now. He said he's motivated. They need him to play well. They need Brook Lopez to play. You need a double-double from you. You're 7 feet tall. You're 7 feet tall. 13 rebounds, 14 rebounds. We should see those type of games from you. It shouldn't even be a discussion. So I think the front court, the defense, the spacing, they know each other very well. They play each other. The games are very close. Giannis always goes crazy, but he still. I think he had 54 last year, and they still lost. So they have to get stops. They have to get stops. Milwaukee has to get stops. If they're able to get consistent stops and be able to neutralize what Indiana does well, they're gonna win this series. I think it's gonna be a fun battle, back and forth. But Milwaukee has to get this done in 6 games. So that's why I'm going with the Bucks in 6. Oh, you're muted, brother.
I said you don't want to see a game or a 3-1 lead by the Bucks and see Pacers win a couple of games here. You don't want to see that possible Game 7 to blow it yet again.
No, I don't. I mean, if it happens, then it's just more history on the resume for that. But
yeah,
when your head coach says, no one talks about the 3 wins before we lose a series, I'm just like, let's get this done as early as possible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, let's just get this done as early as possible, man. Because Game 7 in Indiana is different. It's different. It's packed. It's packed. It's the only game going on. Everybody's there. Midwest, it's a different atmosphere. It's a different atmosphere. So there's no point in risking that. And they already have home court advantage. So these first 2 games are key for Milwaukee. They have to get one of these.
All right, so let's move on to our next matchup that we have. And, of course, we're not talking about the number 1 matchups because technically we don't know yet as far as if it's going to be the Grizzlies or Mavericks. Of course, Grizzlies up by like 15 or 18 points right now. So it's looking like Grizzlies going in the 4th quarter here. But this matchup that we're going to go to next is number 3 Los Angeles Lakers against number 6 Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, CJ, I know you really like the Lakers. I won't say you're a fan of them because, you only can have one team apparently. But, you really like the team that they have built here. Of course, Reeves, who is the 3rd option, who is more likely a 2 option with the points production and everything that he comes with. Of course, Luka, the best player in the world, if not at least top 5, we'll say, top 3. And, of course, they're going against Minnesota. Of course, Julius Randle they traded for. Of course, they've got Ant-Man and, of course, Gobert as well and company. So, in this matchup, which I think is a very interesting matchup, this might be one of my favorites from the West Coast part of it. What are your predictions moving into this one?
Yeah, it's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game, and a great series for sure. I mean, it's a lot of in 6 because it's parity. It's parity. These teams are really good. It's not going to be a cakewalk to me. These teams are very talented. Minnesota, what they do well, Gobert is the key. Gobert is the key. He will continue to be the key in the playoffs for the Timberwolves as long as he's there, because he has the opportunity not only to change the game defensively and help out there and alter shots and make it tough for the Lakers to get easy baskets in the paint. He just doesn't do enough offensively to keep Jackson Hayes out there. So since he's not a great scorer, the Lakers could go to their smaller lineup where the center is 6'9", whether it's LeBron or Vando, and the versatility is still there. The rebounding is there because Doncic, LeBron, Reeves, those guys get defensive rebounds. So, and then push the pace and go up the court and be able to get to their spots early before the defense gets set. I just think that in this series for Gobert, he has to play well. I mean, I know this is not going to happen because he just doesn't play like this, but the 2015 couple blocks, he should be able to do that. Julius Randle. Julius Randle, this is the team that drafted him. He got hurt, came back, played well, and is having a phenomenal career since being drafted by the Lakers. Been struggling in the playoffs with the Knicks. That was kind of that was the narrative around him, and really good in the regular season, postseason. It was different, different team, different situation. Can you change the narrative? Not even necessarily winning the series, but can you change the narrative? Right? And and if you win the series, it's definitely having a different conversation. So Jaden McDaniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Mike Conley, they have to play well, knock down shots, play defense. I'm looking at Randle and Gobert, man. I mean, that front court, that's really they get offensive rebounds when it goes up, because the Timberwolves really they shoot the ball really well. They have high efficiency when it comes from the top five and 3-point percentage. Defensively, that's always going to be their calling card with Coach Finch. Edwards only averaged 19 points against the Lakers this year in the regular season, 28 against everybody else. So, J.J. Redick's done a fantastic job, his coaching staff, Dave McMillan, Scott Brooks, what they've been able to do and try to neutralize Ant-Man. It's tough. Why? Because he has to really defend those guys like Luka and LeBron. You can't rest. You got three players that get 25, 5, and 5. Can't really hide. It's nowhere to hide with the playmaking, because those guys playmaking get other guys involved. You have to be locked in every possession. And this is why it's going to be tough for teams to stop this Laker team, because every possession they could get a great shot. If you're not defensively responsible, they're going to they could already get a good shot. They got two players easily that could knock down contested shots, get things going, really change the momentum of the team, of a series. When Luka's averaging 30 points, LeBron's averaging close to 30 points in their playoff career. You're asking me who I'm going to take. Of course I'm going with the Lakers. I just think right now, even though they just assembled as a team, I think they have a really good shot. They have a really good shot, because what Luka does well, and when LeBron does well playing off the ball, now knocking down threes, cutting to the basket, it's different for him now, because before he would get the defensive rebound and start the offense. Now Luka and Reeves can do that, and he can push the pace and get behind that first line and get the transition basket, easy dunks, easy lobs, stuff we used to see him do in Miami. And when you're getting easy baskets like that, it really him getting those baskets too. It hurts that defense. It makes you think about other things. Now guys are open. They're able to knock down shots. Hachimura is definitely has to be great in this series. I think he will play well. Him in that corner three, the mid range, he's able to slash. Really good defender. He's a really good player, man. He's a really good player. I'm expecting him to have a nice series. It's going to be a dogfight. Ant-Man, this is the team that took him out last year in the Western Conference Finals. So he's going to be motivated. This team is going to be motivated. I mean, not the team, but Luka took him out in the Western Conference Finals. So he's locked in. He's definitely locked in. And Luka's definitely also going to be locked in. Getting traded from the team that you thought you were going to be with your entire career. You just took them to the finals last year. Now you're with LeBron, AR, JJ Redick coaching you. With that Laker uniform, the expectations are going to be high. It's not a scenario where it's going to be no one's expecting you to win the title. People are expecting them to at least get to the Western Conference Finals for sure. How do you see it?
I am 100% with you on that. I think Luka, I want to say 6 in this matchup just because I think so much of Ant-Man's really making that leap to be a superstar in our league, running his team, the mentality that they have. Gobert is a defensive player. Julius can also be defensive-minded and a dog really at the front court on both offense and defense. So I don't want to disrespect Minnesota, but I feel like Luka has so much on his back that he wants to prove right now. Hey, you traded me. This is my playoff run for the Lakers for the first series. And with that, I could almost see this being a 5-game series, if not the only sweep we have. But I don't think so because Ant-Man alone, I think, is going to make this go to 6 games. Just what he wants to do and prove out there. So I'm just saying I think Luka is going to be having like 30-point triple-doubles, if not more, in this series alone. I think LeBron can kind of put on cruise control, let Luka prove what he wants to do, and even AR, as you said, keep getting buckets that he gets to make it easier for the longevity of LeBron during this playoffs. Minnesota is so close, and I think they're in a good place in knowing who they are, what they're supposed to do. They also know their weaknesses by now, and I think they will try to hide those weaknesses as far as defensive matchups, that if they can get off the switch or whatnot. Well, we know so many times Gobert's been put on that island. This could be a bad situation if they get those picks and switches there to really isolate him. If it's LeBron's guarding him, hey, LeBron's at the pick. If they switch, if they don't, pass it to LeBron, let him cook, and just clear out ISO with that. If he's, for some reason, Luka setting a pick for whoever has it and they do a switch, or even Luka. That's what's crazy. LeBron and Luka can set picks for their other guys while also getting picks on offense as well. So the versatile that this team has for the Lakers, man, it's going to be fun to watch this season or this playoffs. So as I ramble there a little bit, I'm going to say I think the Lakers in 6, but man, I think Luka is going to really ball out in this series. That I wouldn't be surprised if it was at least, we'll say 5 games. I don't want to say 4 because I think Minnesota is good for at least 1 game for sure.
Yeah, it just goes back to the front court for Minnesota for me. Again,
yep.
And also throw Naz Reid in that equation as well. Randall, Gobert, Naz Reid. They have to play really well. The rebounding, the scoring, everything that what they do well, it has to be amplified to a different degree.
Yep.
I feel like the rebounding, that more than anything, getting second chance points, creating second chance points, because they shoot the ball really well. So if they're able to get second chance points, get open shots, and keep that pace up with the Lakers, it could be very interesting. It could be very, very interesting in terms of what they do. So This is gonna be a fun matchup, man. This is gonna be a fun matchup.
Yep. This one really is. But of course, we've got another matchup that we got to talk about. I think it's our last one of the night that we need to go ahead and get into. Oh, we're both good. Lakers in 6 for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got the Lakers in 6,
okay.
bro. Yep.
Gotcha. So this next topic that we got going on here, or the matchup that we want to predict here, is the Nuggets at number 4 against the Clippers at number 5. And of course, their number 5 is kind of tampered with, I want to say, because the Claw has been in and out all season, as he always has. So since he's been back, they've really been looking well. So this is going to be a tough matchup, in my opinion. I think it's going to be I'll wait. Nuggets, Clippers, first round. Who you got?
Man, I got the Clippers in 7.
Oh, okay.
I'm going with the Clippers in 7. This is a fun matchup. I'm not sure what we really get from. I'm sure to see the David Adelman coaching his first playoff game, first playoff series against this team. This is different. Ty Lue. Talk about motivation for Luka and what he's gone through. You can say the same thing for Kawhi Leonard as well. Battling through injuries, seeing when he's out there what the team looks like, and they're in the route to winning the series. That's what it appears to be. The way he's able to play and change the game on both ends of the court. It's the key thing is then the narrative. One of the narratives I'm looking at it for the Rockets. For the Clippers, and everything that Harden went through with the Rockets, with the Sixers, and the Nets. Can Kawhi be that player that can help Harden win a championship? That's what I want to see over these next few years. Because let's not forget when Kawhi first went to the Clippers, there was a selection of players that he wanted to team up with. It was Harden, Jimmy Butler, and Paul George. But Harden and Butler were the top 2 guys that he wanted to play with in 2019. And then they ultimately went with Paul George, made the trade, SGA, the rest is history, right? Fast forward a few years later, it took a while, and now we see Kawhi and Harden become a duo now. LA play, California guys, LA area. The way that James has played this year, some people have him on the All NBA ballots for this season. Had a great game against the Warriors in that Sunday night game in order for them to get this 5th seed. It's as long as he's playing, he has an opportunity to change the discussion about the postseason success. I would like to see it. I would like to see it, and that's why I'm going with the Clips. I feel like Kawhi can be the one that can offset and the players that they have, and Zubats to me is truly the key. Everybody has an X factor, and I'll talk about the Nuggets soon, but Zubats, him playing well, crashing the glass, doing the little things. He was able to do the little things to kind of take Jokic off his game, getting offensive rebounds, going back up, being physical. You have to be physical, have to stand your ground. You can't get in foul trouble. You could not get in foul trouble. But even Ben Simmons at the 5, I just don't know how locked in he is. He used to be all defensive team guy. Early in his career. I just don't know. I don't know if we see that. So I'm not banking on that. So Zubats has to really do well in terms of keeping his hands out the way, keeping his hands up, being vertical. The refs is gonna, they're gonna be lenient. This is the playoffs. It's a different type of officiating. So double, 20 and 10. He's able to give. You've seen him get 20 games. Zubats, he's special. He's special. Those summer league matchups when he was with the Lakers, those early games when he was with the Lakers, the potential was there. If you were watching, a lot of people were watching for Lonzo, but a lot of people were watching for Lonzo back then. But Zubats was cooking. Kuzma, Hart, and his development, he's able to continue to grow. Harden has always had great chemistry with his centers, and we're seeing that unfold again in Los Angeles. So matching up against Nikola Jokic is going to be a tough task, but he's special. He has the talent, and if he's able to play well with Harden's ability, his playmaking, knocking down timely shots, Kawhi is just a machine. That's just what he is. He's doing that. I could definitely see the Clippers getting it done in 7. I could see that. Now you look at the Nuggets; they have a good team. They have a really good team, but they're always going to have an opportunity. And I think all of these games are going to be really close because even with Zubac playing well, and I think it's going to help them win the series, you still can't stop. You still can't stop Jokic. You still can't stop him. So 30-point triple-double is a lock to me. Jamal Murray and Russell Westbrook, their efficiency and how they play is really going to factor into whether or not Denver can win the series in the first round, especially for Westbrook. Westbrook's minutes are going to be very key. They're going to be very key. Will they they're going to sag off him. They're going to play off him. He has to knock down. I'm not saying Curry, but yes, at least one corner three, cut to the basket. If he can minimize the flaws, and sometimes his flaws are so loud, you know what I mean? But when he's really playing well and rebounding and pushing the pace and getting guys involved, it's great to watch. It's great to watch. So if he could just minimize some of those flaws with Murray has to step up in this series. He has to play well. He had a really great playoff series a few years ago and reaching and winning that championship. Last year, good first round against the Lakers. Second round, not so much. And they lost that series to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So he needs to have a couple 30-point games. He needs to go out there and play well and offset what Harden can, or what Harden could potentially do. If he's able to do that, MPJ, Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, they're going to have a shot. They're easily going to have a shot. This is going to be a back and forth series. I don't see anybody truly dominating. I do believe it could go 7. I would not be shocked if Denver wins the series as well. But I feel like coaching-wise scenario, right now I trust Ty Lue when it comes to that. And when I feel like the teams are as close as they are between this 4-5 matchup, Jokic is the best player in the series, but Kawhi is the second best, and then I have to go with Harden as well, just based on how everybody's been playing this year. Harden's had a great year. You could go Norman Powell 4th, if you or Zubac, and then you can get into Jamal Murray and Westbrook. So, very, very close series, extremely competitive. But I'm going with the Clippers at 7.
You make great points, and that's why I'm going with the Nuggets in 7. No, I'll kid you. Honestly, as you were talking, of course, we didn't even get into it, but of course, Malone, well, we talked about it last week. Malone's been fired, so it's just really weird knowing what the Nuggets are thinking right now as a team moving forward with this. Of course, they've got an interim in, and it's played well. You're right. There's no stopping Jokic. We know that, but at the same time, to me, the key for the Clippers is to not let Jamal be the high scorer on the team. And I say that because, Jokic is going to get his points, but also his assists are what really kills, in my opinion, what really kills the other team. Because if Jokic is getting 2s, in the way the league plays now, if you're getting 3s are more than 2s. But once that you have to double team him and Jokic has finds the kick out guy, whoever's open for that 3, that's when it's most point-wise dangerous. And if Jamal Murray is hitting, and I also think Michael Porter Jr. is my other factor as far as is he being in the game to be a factor. I'm going to say it that way, because a lot of times he can get disguised and camp at the 3-point line to just catch and shoot instead of, even looking to a backdoor cut or even move off the ball. He ball watches a lot. Well, I won't say a lot, but I feel like he can fall asleep watching the game instead of being active on the offense of moving around. So I'm actually going to say, yes, Jokic is going to get all his points. Kawhi's biggest factor as far as can he shut down who's he going to be guarding, really? I'm going to think he's going to be on Jamal if he can minimize what Jamal's production is during this game. I think it's favors for the Clippers, but I'm still going to lean to the Nuggets until they lose. I'm not counting them out of any playoffs, basically. So I'm going to say Nuggets in 7, and my major factor for the Nuggets to win is Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. points production, what they can do on that side plus rebounding, because those two, Jamal's going to get his points. Kawhi Leonard's going to be on him, so that may hurt that a little bit. And to offset that, it's got to be Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon, and even Braun too. Of course, we didn't mention him, but those are what I feel like is going to stick out most. Is can Michael Porter Jr. be your one or two, well, second or third leading scoring in this whole series? We'll see, because they also will have to guard more than likely Kawhi Leonard as well. So that's a tough factor too. And let's be honest, the Claw has not been fully healthy through a playoff series in a long time. He'll play a few games and be out of game. Last year I think we had the best healthy Leonard in the playoffs than we had in a while. So I'm going Nuggets in 7. You want to combat anything I said?
Nuggets in 7. So you feel like Murray's going to have a big series?
I think he has to on this. The only thing I'm saying, though, is Leonard's going to be guarding him, and it's hard to have a big series when he is on anyone. So that's why I'm also saying Michael Porter Jr. in there and Aaron Gordon as far as points.
I'll probably say Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn will probably start on Murray first. That's kind of been his role. He's had a fantastic year defensively. I think they'll probably put Dunn on Murray. He's a little bit taller, physicality, and then towards later in the game, if Murray's if he's playing well, then of course Kawhi step in there. It's a seamless switch. It's not necessarily an advantage when obviously when Kawhi is on someone like Murray. So it's a tall task because Chris Dunn's sole responsibility is to make everything difficult for him. So that matchup is very key. That's an underrated matchup. Zubats, Jokic. I mean, Christian Brown and Harden, Norman Powell. It's they have both teams have really good players. Aaron Gordon has flashes where he could get 25 and 9 if his outside shot is at an efficient clip. It changes everything because he gets easy baskets playing with Jokic right there in that dunker spot. So anything else after that is a luxury, and it could be very possible if he's physical. His defense, he was getting stops, and he was all over the place a few years ago in that playoff run that they had. So they could get flashes of that in this matchup for sure. They could definitely win this series.
And I hope we have a good output from Westbrook. Just the storyline there was with the Clippers. Nothing ever panned out. I think it would be great for us to have at least one game in this series where Westbrook really puts together a good game. I would love a triple-double, but I don't think it's happening. But I'm just saying, Westbrook, if he has a game where he gets 20 points, I think it'll be great for him.
Yeah, I think he'll be motivated. This is the team he's just currently on. They let him go for Chris Dunn, and so he's going to have some. He always plays with a chip, always. It's just added based on the circumstances and the team now. It's no bad series in the first round. If you're the NBA, you have to be excited. If you're Adam Silver. Based on the conversations, we were having and a lot of people were having in the beginning of the season about the ratings and things of that nature, it's done a complete 180 over the last few months, and you guys, just gotta stay patient. I mean, that was really what what we learned, right? Is being a fan, you stay patient. Something big happened, and I have my theories on why that might have happened with the Luka trade, but that shook up the sports world, and it shook up the league. And now we have everything formulated now to we have a 4 or 5 matchup where Jokic or Kawhi could be eliminated in the first round. That's wild. That's wild. Yeah, that's wild. And there's really no excuses. Both of these teams are playing well and look really good. So it's just you just lost. And of course, you know, the media, they're going to try to spin it in other things, but this competition it's going to be fun. And this is one I was definitely had highlighted when it came out that this was going to be the matchup. All right, so we do have the 1 and 8s. See, you know, everything is set in stone. So I do want to get into that before we get out of here.
Okay.
Got the Cavs and the Miami Heat. Yeah, these are the two teams that's really pretty close to you, my guy.
Yes,
I would say
yes.
so.
Well, of course, you know, I am a Miami fan. I just have really liked watching what Cleveland's put together and have bought into that system, I guess. They're defensive minded. They've turned their offense around this year to be a top scorer all year long. They are the number 1 seed for a reason. So, Miami, you can't count them out, man, when it's playoff time. As we already see, the number 10 seed has back-to-back wins on the road. They know how to play away from home and get the W any way they can. So I'm still going to go with Cleveland in this one. And this, I'm going to say Cleveland in 5. The offensive power that we're seeing from Mitchell, who is an MVP candidate, in my opinion, still a top 5. Just what he does. And, of course, Mobley, what he's doing as well. Plus Jarrett Allen in the back. There we go. Or for the front court. I just feel like that matchup is going to help their defense so much, because if you don't have Hero scoring on isolation, if you can help off on that and cancel that out, Ware is a sharp shooter. Well, is a good shooter on the wings. And of course, you have Bam. But I just feel like if Tyler Hero can be contained on offense, it kind of stumbles everything that Miami has going right now. Of course, these last 2 games, I think you mentioned that he was back-to-back 30 points at least in the playoffs to win. Without Jimmy Butler, Rozier's not really done much at all this year. Even today, Jacques Jr. was a coach decision not to play. So some of these guys that we've seen play well in the past just aren't producing. So if I'm coaching against Miami in a series, I want to say Tyler Hero's going to try to do everything he can with containing. And once that happens, Miami's going to be playing from behind, and I think it's going to be all she wrote. So, yeah, I'm going to Cleveland in 5. And I hate to say it.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Cavs in 5. Just on offense and on defense, they just play at the highest level, man. Throughout the entire year.
I mean, let's be honest. If you name the best 3 players in this matchup, Mitchell's 1, Mobley's 2.
Yeah, Mobley's 2 for me. And then, you know, you got Garland and Hero right there. It's really Bam. You know, it gets it's close. But then you look at the rest of the team, you know, for the Cavs. Merrill, DeAndre Hunter, Jared Allen, you know, Khalil Ware, he's a rookie. You know, it's got to be a big matchup for him. Now, from the front court perspective, Mobley versus Bam, that's a fun matchup.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun matchup. They're both defensive minded. That's something I'm really looking forward to, because that's a situation where a battle where we're going to see that for years to come, right? At that power forward spot between those 2 players. So I'm interested in that. Khalil Ware, he can stay. He has to be able to, you know, stay out of foul trouble. You know, similar to what I said with Mr. Robinson, he can use athleticism. Even watching him sometimes against the Hawks, he was looking a little lost. That can't happen. That can't happen against his team. That can't happen against his team. He has to be alert. He has to be a game changer defensively, protecting the basket. But ultimately, I see Wiggins, Davion Mitchell, his outside shooting and his ability to be able to make things difficult for Garland when he's out there. Of course, Spoelstra's going to try to match him up with Garland and make it tough, have him take some contested shots. Highsmith, Alec Burks. I mean, I don't know. I'm not really expecting much from Alec Burks, but Duncan Robinson. The game planning and the preparation is going to be there. I just don't think they have the talent, and they don't have the cohesiveness that the Cavs have, and what we've seen all year from Cleveland to be able to keep up. And I think we'll see earlier in the games. It'll be very competitive. Get the kinks out, because Miami will be well prepared. But I think ultimately, as the game goes on, I think we'll see that probably more than likely a lot throughout the series. The Cavs will pull away just because I just feel like they're the better team on both ends. But yeah, I think a really good series for the Cavs to start the playoffs. It's not going to be a cakewalk. You're going against a great head coach. You can't lack a young duo that's had a playoff experience in Hero and Adebayo. It's a fun matchup, and I think it's something that they're going to be ready for, and I think they're going to play well.
Sounds good. Moving over to the West, we've got, of course, OKC, and it looks like Memphis is now closed out the game against the Mavs for the W there, coming into the 8th spot against Oklahoma City Thunder, which is not entirely a bad matchup. Of course, you got Edey at the block, kind of disrupting everything down there. I don't think anyone really has anyone from OKC that can match up with his size, the physicality, if he is able to do it. But the speed.
Halliburton and Chet. Hartenstein and Chet.
Hartenstein, maybe. I don't know if Chet really can, as far as the strength. But we'll see. I think it's a good matchup, and we'll really can prove Chet if he can be that guy or not. As far as Edey, his physicality, the strength, the weight, basically, we'll see how they do with that. But the flip side of that, they can get up and down the court a lot faster, in my opinion, than Edey can. So get them out, setting way high screens and rotating in, the pick and rolls, if you will, make Edey really have to spread out from under the goal. I think should be interesting for them. So I'm going to go ahead and say I think OKC in 5 as well. Like I said earlier, I don't think there's going to be any sweep. So I'm going to say OKC in 5.
The front court battle, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey versus Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, it's going to be crazy. Jaren Jackson Jr., Defensive Player of the Year. He has the talent to really, take this team to another level. We don't see it all the time. He's had a great year, but I just don't know what we're going to see. I mean, if we get 25 and 12, from like Jaren Jackson Jr. in the playoffs, it could change the complexity of the series. What Ja's able to do, Bane, Zach Edey's a double machine. Struggled in that game against the Warriors earlier in the week. Came out today and played much better. Being physical, crashing the glass, finishing around the rim, keeping the basketball high when he gets the basketball. Like, you're already 7-4. Why would you put the ball, low? You're helping the defense. So little things like that. He's still a rookie. I think once he really gets the confidence and figures it out, it's going to be scary for the league.
Yeah.
Because to me, I see a Zubats type of development with him. Like, even though he's older when Zubats came out by a few years, but again, just learning the game and understanding what he needs to do in the NBA. I say in a few years, that screen action with Ja and Edey is going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous because once Edey starts scoring, once he sets that screen and Ja's knocking down his 3, it's over. It's over. So. And we can see that in this series. It's very possible, and their chemistry is continuing to grow, and that's something that we've seen more of in Taylor Jenkins since Taylor Jenkins was fired. We've seen the new head coach come in there and definitely switch that up. We've seen more screen actions for Ja, and if Ja's able to knock down that outside shot, because again they're also going to go under, he makes them pay. no one can stay in front of him. It's very Iverson-esque when I watch him play. His ability to get to the basket, I feel like with a little bit more athleticism than AI, which is crazy because AI was a great athlete. I'm gonna say OKC in 6 because I do think the Grizzlies they have the team, they have the playoff experience to potentially get 2 games. OKC is a juggernaut. They've been a juggernaut all year, and it starts with SGA. I mean, nobody can stay in front of him. They don't have the defenders to guard him. And that's really the key there. Even though the front court between both teams is really exciting to watch, when it comes to the guard play, the OKC they have players that they could put in front of Ja, make it physical throughout the game. Kassan Wallace, Lou Dort, Caruso, Jalen Williams, SGA. I mean, those are 4 or 5 guys that you're throwing at Ja on a possession-by-possession basis. He has to play those guys differently when they're in front of him. The Grizzlies don't have those type of defenders for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So 30 is going to be you're going to average 30 in the series. I mean, that's just what we expect. I mean, he averaged 30, then they're 33 in the regular season. So I don't see anything short of that. In this first round, Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams not only are going to be important for them in this series, but going forward, I feel like it's important for both players to have really great first rounds, and hope that can propel OKC going into the second round in the semis. They need to be efficient. I mean, they need to be efficient in this series. Coaching wise, you got to go with Dagliano for sure. A fun matchup. I mean, I think Ja versus SGA in the West. What else can you ask for? I feel like the NBA they hit a gold mine. They got the Warriors and the Grizzlies as a 7th and 8th spot. You got your superstars. You just hope and pray to get 6 games out of that first round. I think this goes 6. I think Memphis is able to maybe get 2 games in here, even though OKC's been very dominant. But the way Memphis played tonight, I know it's a different team, but you can build off momentum and how you play. And 50 rebounds in this one for Memphis, and when it defeated the Mavs, they're physical like that, staying on the glass. You can sneak out 1 game. So I'm going to Oklahoma City at 6.
Okay. Sounds good. I think we wrapped up the first round there. Are we good? Anything else? I took off the wrong one.
No, you're good, bro.
Whew. After midnight, guys, I'm sorry I yawned quite a bit, but it's been a long week for me. Of course, everyone, we didn't say this earlier, but, happy Good Friday to you guys. This is something special coming up on Sunday. Of course, y'all will be celebrating, hopefully, Easter. There's a whole big spill that we could go into that, but we're just thankful we are here, and we got some basketball that we talked about quite a bit. I'm ready for bed. I'm getting old. CJ, it's fun chopping it up with you. But before we get off of here, where can people find you at?
Find me on X at cjames9_. Appreciate all the people that tune in right now at 12 a.m. on my X account. Thank you guys. YouTube channel as well. Continue to like, subscribe, hit the follow button on our X account at MNC Hoops. On IG, cj.james9, CJ versus the World for the gaming page. Thank you guys, man. This playoff's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. I'm going to try to see if we can do the playback, playback.tv/CJ versus the World. So, I'm going to drop some links on my IG and some of my other social media platforms. So look out for that. I'll try to do some live streams for these games because I think this is going to be a historic one for sure.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Just to recap, it seems like there's going to be a lot of matchups where it's the future playing against the present style players, So it's just going to be a lot of fun to keep up with that and see how it plays out. But, of course, you can find me, MDLawson00, on all social media platforms. You can also check out my second channel, Cats Chat, where we talk everything Kentucky sports. Got a former Kentucky player that is a part of the national team in 98 that's going to be on the show Wednesday, Cameron Mills. So it's going to be a lot of fun talking with him on that and just what we expect from this upcoming team. Transfer portal has been crazy. A lot of fun. So with that being said, guys, we thank you all so much again for tuning in and being with us this long. Hopefully you guys are ready for bed like I am because got a basketball game tomorrow morning, then I got to close for work. So yet again, a long day. But until, guys, next time, keep balling out, and we'll see you all soon.
See you guys next week, man. Take care. Have fun watching these games, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Yes, sir.